Hi everybody, I'm Nick Lamb. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about savings, how much to save, and general saving strategies for the future. So really, what's the right amount to save? That's kind of the magic question I always get. And there's no perfect right answer, but the sweet spot is typically 10 to 20%. I know that sounds like a scary amount, but if you retire at 65, you could live another 30 to 40 years easily. So that means you got to save a lot of money. But you need to start saving today and not tomorrow. If you can't afford that 10 to 20% initially, start small. Start at 1%, start at 3%, and inch your way up to that saving rate target of 10 to 20%. But start saving early. And let's jump to a few slides to hopefully illustrate the need to save early and often. Okay, so what we have here is a 40-year saving plan. So you graduate college, you're 25 years old, you have 40 years until you're 65. This is what you would theoretically end up with. So the assumptions here are a starting salary of $50,000 with a 3% salary growth each year. You can see that the graph for a 5% savings rate all the way to a 15% saving rate. So if you save 5% for 40 years, you're going to end up with $1 million. That's really not that much to retire on when you think that your retirement's going to be 30 to 40 years. And remember, this is $1 million 60 years from now, or excuse me, 40 years from now. So it's not the same $1 million in today's value. But if you save 15%, you're going to end up with $3 million. That's real money. That's something you can retire on very comfortably. So let's say you want to save 10%, you're going to end up with $2 million, right? If you just increase your retirement to 12.5% each month, you're going to end up with $500,000 more with $2.5 million. So as you can see, a small increase in your savings rate will make a huge difference over the long term. So I hope that shows that the amount you save is hugely important, and even small amounts of an upward change or downward change will have significant impacts in the terminal value of your portfolio and thus your life. So the second slide I really want to focus on is how you need to save early, right? 10 years, the same assumptions as before. If you save for 10 years, you end up with $90,000. If you save for 20 years, you're going to have $317,000. If you save for 30 years, you're going to have $850,000. And if you save for 40 years, it's going to be $2 million. And this is, of course, with a 10% savings rate. So as you can see, if you start saving now, if you're 25, for 40 years, you're going to have $2 million. If you start until you're in your 40s and 50s, you're probably only going to have a few $100,000 to retire on. It is insanely hard to catch up, so you need to start saving early. And I hope that proves this point that it's got to be early and you can't put this off. Even if it's just a couple percent a month now in your 20s or your 30s, you got to do it. So I think it's pretty clear we need to save early and often, but hopefully I can give you a couple pointers if you're having trouble saving now to really prepare yourself for the future. So most 401ks, you can set it to where you automatically increase the amount you save each month by 1%, 2%. You could set it to increase 1% every 6 months or every year. So at some point, you're going to get to that 10 to 20% target savings rate. Another thing I really like is this Acorns app. It's really easy, really simple. 10 minutes, you're set up. What it does, it can connect to whatever card you use. Say, for example, a credit card. You go to Starbucks, you pay $5.85 for 2 coffees. The Acorns app will round up, so that the delta or the difference between $5.85 and $6, 15 cents, they're going to invest in an account for you. So over time, you're going to be saving without even trying, without even knowing that you're saving, and it, like we showed, it adds up. So guys, I hope this is helpful. As always, comment below. Reach out to me via email at buildingwealthwithnicklamb@gmail.com. I'm happy to discuss this further with you. And if you have a portfolio or you're starting to save and you want help allocating assets, I'm always here to help. And I have great connections with very sophisticated wealth managers at Merrill Lynch that would be happy to help you. So I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.